you, Claudia. I'll get to see you.
Nice. Okay. People are pouring in. All right. Well, let's get started. Hello, and we're so glad that you joined. My name is Susan Enfield. I manage the Climate Smart Markets program at the Colorado Department of Ag, and I'm joined by a bunch of great experts today. The Climate Smart program was established in 24 to support market opportunities for Colorado farmers, ranchers, and businesses, particularly those involved with climate smart and regenerative ag practices or purchasing. And I'll give you just a bit of a peek at what to expect in this webinar. After the intros, which include a short overview of Newtopia Now, where CDA has had the honor of sponsoring Colorado brands the past 2 years. One of our exhibitors who was there with us this year and last year will share her brand story. She'll also share her experience at the show, and then we'll get tips for trade show success and what to consider if you're thinking about looking at a trade show, pros and cons, and some shows to consider. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, I'm Susan Enfield. Barb Howe is giving great support running the show today. Colorado Proud and the Climate Smart program are both CDA programs. They collaborate closely, and she's the business development director for this free program that you should join, and which provides education, events, and marketing resources for anybody who makes, grows, or processes Colorado products. The next we have Claudia Bouvier. She's a food entrepreneur dedicated to transforming the food system to a healthier and more sustainable model. In 2018, she founded Pastificio Boulder, a company that makes pasta using heirloom and regenerative wheat varieties. They focus on creating a real food market that supports farmers practicing regenerative ag. Claudia is also a civil engineer, an MEM, and a College of Engineering instructor at CU Boulder. Next, we have Julie Zagars. Julie has over 30 years experience in the natural and organics food industry, including stints with in-store management, social media management, and buying with retailers such as Sprouts and WholeFoods.com. She served as a consultant for food manufacturers and co-founded MBArk, which is a program for MBA students looking to break into the natural foods industry. She works with McCain Foods, managing their agricultural communications. McCain Foods is transitioning fully to regenerative ag sources for all their potatoes farmed across North America by 2030. And Kuvy Ax, last but not least, is the founder and owner of Root Marketing and PR firm. It's an award-winning PR, marketing, and social media agency dedicated to supporting good food and those who grow, make it, and sell it, and bring it to life. Kuvy's a frequent judge for the New Hope Network Expo West Next Awards, a speaker and mentor at Expo West, and I'm an ambassador at Newtopia Now. So take it away.
Thank you, Barb. You can go to the next slide. So what that really means is I get to eat a lot of good food. So I feel really lucky in that way. But why are we talking about Newtopia Now today? Why is Newtopia Now such a big deal? So I'll give you a little bit of background first about Newtopia Now. So it's one of the New Hope Network trade shows. They have trade shows all over the world as a part of Informa Markets. And the sister show is Natural Products Expo West. So I'm sure you've heard of Natural Products Expo West. It's the largest natural products expo in the world. It's in Anaheim every single March. It's been going for about 44 years. And by the way, Expo West is happening this March, March 3 through 6 in Anaheim again, of course. Um, and then Expo West's sister show has always been Expo East. The last few years it's been in Philadelphia, but they actually sunsetted that show and replaced it with Newtopia Now this past summer. So last summer was the first show in Denver. It's now called Newtopia Now because Expo East doesn't make sense anymore. So again, it's in Denver for 3 years for sure. The contract is for 3 years. Last year, this year, and next year is the last year that they know they're going to be in Denver. So if you did not make it to Newtopia Now and you're in Colorado, make sure that you go next year because it may move and be a lot harder to get to. It's TBD on where it's going to be in 2028, 2027. And then why? Why should you go to Newtopia Now? So at the show this summer, there was at least 2,000 attendees from more than 25 countries. The showcase had over 480 natural, organic, and purpose-driven brands, brands of all sizes. So first-time launches all the way up to the really big brands. There was a lot of programming that was great to go to. So keynotes and panels and seminars and networking events. And then really the big thing for Newtopia Now is their focused one-on-one relationship building, connecting brands with buyers and investors and experts. So that's the big deal for Newtopia Now is one of the advantages to going to Newtopia Now over going to Expo West is you're getting the chance to meet with buyers and investors because it's a smaller show, it's more intimate, and they've really put a lot of effort into creating those opportunities for brands to really connect with the retailers and investors. They've got curated one-on-one meetings, there's intimate networking events. It gives you face-to-face access to decision makers from Whole Foods and GNC, at Sprouts and King Soopers. And then the invitation-only dinners like their dine-arounds, all kinds of good networking events, actually. And then one more special thing about Newtopia Now was something called the Market. And that's a cutting-edge product showcase where you can shop the market before you go to the neighborhood. So it's like a little store. So you walk into the show and right there is the market, and you can take a look at and grab samples from some of the brands to get a feel for whether or not you want to go to that area or not. So that's a really nice, fun thing that they started up for this one too. And on to the next slide.
Okay, back to me. So I just wanted to briefly introduce the Climate Smart Markets program. It was established in 2024 to support market development for climate resilient ag products raised in Colorado. And the main initiative of the program is something called the Climate Smart Market Expansion Project. It's a new competitive grant award to support pilot projects to help grow markets for this area. We awarded 3 awards last year to help Colorado businesses invest in needs like middle of the supply chain storage for climate resilient and organic grains, and launching some new products that help tell the story of the land and the nutrients and all the great food. The next round of funding for that will open later this fall, and I can share. I'm sharing a link to our webpage where you can sign up for email updates. So you can learn about that more of that there. Otherwise, we provide educational and marketing resources to our stakeholders and the public, and we do trade shows and events. We host and participate in several events. The biggest one that we've done is Newtopia Now. We've been there the past 2 years, and you can advance to the next slide. Barb, thanks. These are the brands that we brought this year, 7 brands, and they all share a love for Colorado ag and telling the story of how we can grow more nutritious food in ways that make the soil healthier and increase biodiversity, and also use less water, which is a critical issue here in Colorado. So Roaring Fork Mill was one of the brands we bought, based in Carbondale, and Dry Storage. Those are both mills focused on that work directly with Colorado farmers, organic regenerative practices, and make fantastic stone ground flours, a variety of them. Dry Storage focuses mostly on high-end restaurants and supply all the Michelin star restaurants in Denver. Dryland is a distiller that makes incredible craft spirits, also working directly with farmers in Colorado. They're based in Longmont. Pastificio, we have them here with us. They make amazing craft pasta made with ancient heirloom wheats. Haxton Heritage Farm is an interesting farm brand that they created a mill that's Colorado's only dedicated gluten-free mill house. And they mill the millet and corn and other ingredients, all gluten-free ingredients they grow on the farm, and they make great baking mixes and bulk gluten-free flour. Spark and Honey is a great Boulder company that makes amazing granola using local honey. And finally, Rye Resurgence Project is a nonprofit coalition of farmers and craft makers in the San Luis Valley that are working with water conservancy issues to promote rye, which is a great low water crop that can be a solution for aquifer depletion issues in the San Luis Valley and keep agriculture vibrant there. So I'm going to hand it to Claudia.
Thank you, Susan. Hi, everyone. I'm Claudia Bouvier, co-founder of Pastificio Boulder. We started the company in 2018, and so we're basically a craft artisanal pasta company, primarily working with heirloom and ancient varieties of organic, freshly milled wheat. We collaborate with smaller farmers. I'm going to talk a little about our sourcing. So we operate at this point in three main channels, which is the wholesale. We work with big retail brands such as Whole Foods and Kroger. We have our pastas pretty much all across the country. We have about 400 retail doors. We also do direct to consumer, which is e-commerce, and we have a pasta shop in Boulder. I think I can go to the next slide. Barb, thank you. So the sourcing, it's one of the most important parts of our business. We're heavy on mission. So our intent is really to bring ethical, real food to the CPG industry. And, it starts with the wheat varieties that we use. We oftentimes source from seed banks as Massa Seed Foundation in Boulder. We work directly with smaller farmers that are practicing organic, biodynamic, sustainable, regenerative agriculture. Not all of them, but our intent is to, at the bare minimum, to be at the organic level. So we also work with micro mills because we have a custom designed flour that we need to be freshly milled and milled to our specifications. So we work with smaller millers, not only in Colorado, but in Montana, also in Kansas, in California, Washington State. So the idea is to really keep the ethical aspects and the real food into our company, from what we are sourcing to whom we're working with to every process that we handle, from the milling to the manufacturing. We self-manufacture everything in Boulder. So what we are doing is just breaking the processes in the industry that became, ultra processed food and bringing back to the essence and trying to maintain amazing product that is good for the earth, for the farmers, for biodiversity. So this is basically what we do. I'm going to talk more as we go, but this is what we are.
I'm Julie Zagars, and I've been attending trade shows produced by New Hope Network for more than 30 years. If you were unable to attend Newtopia Now 2.5 weeks ago, we are here to give you some highlights. These are 7 of the top trends we spotted, which means that these are the categories you're likely to see expand in the months to come, with some of the products you'll likely see appear on grocery shelves in the next 6 to 12 months or so. Next slide, please. So, maximizing protein. Protein-packed foods reign supreme at Newtopia Now. Going beyond energy bars, brands continue to help consumers meet their high protein goals by adding protein to all sorts of treats, including tortilla chips, pizza, waffles, soda, enhanced coffee beverages, and so much more, even if the US recommended daily allowance for protein has not been updated in the last 50 years. That classic margarita pizza from Lupini was quite good. They won the People's Choice Award at Naturally Network's Pitch Slam event called Naturally Rising. But perhaps most surprising was the fact that there were at least 4 different frozen dessert brands on the Newtopia Now show floor that all featured high protein offerings. Why don't you go to that next slide and we'll get a chance to see some of those. Smearcase was even the winner of Thursday's Conscious Beauty and Wellness Pitch event. Their name comes from the German word Schmearkäse, or cottage cheese, which is their differentiating ingredient. My favorite sample was the apple pie flavor from the frozen one, which boasts 40 grams of protein per pint and has, on average, 75% less fat and 62% less sugar than traditional ice cream. Next slide, please. Relatedly, brands are increasingly incorporating broth into their ingredient lists to boost protein. We saw venison bone broth in luau stew, which is a baby food from Pico Provisions that's also loved by athletes. Bovine bone broth as an ingredient in the protein-packed marinara from Sturdy Sauce. A Crush debuted a line of powdered Norwegian bone broths, delivering 13 grams of protein per serving. And Whole Bar is a treat with 20 grams of protein from chicken bone broth in a salted chocolate bar. Next slide, please. Now, what's the opposite of greenwashing? Susan tells me the hot new term is green hushing for truly authentic companies. These brands are dedicated to transparency and not trumpeting their ever-improving attributes until everything's locked in. So, for instance, they may be working towards securing their regenerative organic certification, but they won't mention they're pursuing that prestigious recognition until they've fully completed the process. And we appreciate any effort towards self-improvement, soil enhancement, and more brands striving for ROC. Brands are also outing short ingredient lists like Eden's Unsinful Pleasures Fig Wellness Bar. This contains just fig, oats, walnuts, tahini, chia, nothing more. Brause's apple soda is a German apple sap, and it's literally just carbonated organic apple juice. It's crisp, it's clean, it's lemony, it's fizzy, it's really delicious.
And then I was going to jump in on this one because I have the box from these guys. And so these folks are Farmwell. And just check out this cool gift box that they gave to a few top folks. I guess I was one of them at Newtopia Now. But look at this beautiful display. Farm to can to you on the lid. And I love these guys because it's a antioxidant drink that is carbonated, oh my gosh, carbonated, thank you, non-carbonated, family run, it's regenerative organic, and the berry in the drink is aronia, which has 3 times the antioxidants of blueberries, and again, lower sugar than most berries. So I was a big fan of the Farmwell folks.
Other companies that also sparked our interest, if you go to the next slide, Pecana's unsweetened pecan milk, founded by a woman who's a 3rd-generation pecan farmer. The brand recently transitioned its entire product line to USDA organic. These seed oil-free alt milks are made with just 4 simple ingredients. Likewise, Malk's new organic unsweetened soy milk boasts just filtered water, organic soybeans, and organic Himalayan pink salt. And Frontier Co-op has rolled out a new line of regenerative organic certified spices with a blue ribbon on their label for easy spotting. Next slide, please. Brands are shrugging off stevia and other sugar substitutes and instead embracing the real deal, like cane sugar, coconut sugar, honey, dates, date syrup. So these are a few brands we love. The Conscious Bar is sweetened with dates and again has a really short ingredient list. Just organic cacao beans, organic dates, and organic cacao butter. Deep dark drinking chocolate was absolutely my favorite find of the show. I know Kuvy's going to back me up on this one. This is a lush, plush, European style drinking chocolate. So it's a serious upgrade from that Swiss Miss of your childhood. And this is so rich, you don't even need marshmallows. It's made with an ethically sourced premium dark chocolate and sweetened with sugar, which I love. For every bag purchased, a child in Ghana receives food and education for a day, which makes my indulgent experience of enjoying this new product all the sweeter. Next slide, please. As consumer awareness and understanding of the value of fermented foods grows, brands are looking for ways to make food more functional with fermentation. You'll want to be on the lookout for fermented nuts from gut nuts, pickled veggies like the jicama from brine time, kombucha, water kefir, and more. Brands know that probiotics are beneficial bacteria and yeasts that, when consumed, can improve or restore the balance of microorganisms in your gut, supporting digestion and boosting immunity and helping your body thrive naturally. Next slide, please. Americans are growing in their understanding of the shortcomings of modern grains and are increasingly embracing ancient and heirloom grains, especially when they're locally grown in Colorado. One of the exhibitors was Dry Storage, an artisan mill and bakery in Boulder, Colorado, whose mission is to bolster grains that are more nutritional, flavorful, and supportive of farming communities. They believe their grains are an antidote to the modern industrialized food system. Organic agriculture and regenerative practices nourish the soil and combat climate change. By buying directly from farmers and investing in the supply chain, Dry Storage seeks to restore rural economies and strengthen local food sheds. And that's totally worth celebrating. Their single varietals include Elben Rye, Winter Langen, Rouge de Bordeaux, White Sonora, and several others. They view grain as a medium for change. At the show, Roaring Fork Mill launched 7 regenerative organic certified flours and a finished shortbread cookie made with regenerative organic ingredients. Roaring Fork is a family-run stone mill operation that supplies restaurants, bakeries, and retail stores and produces a line of packaged flours and a pancake mix. I appreciate that owner Jacob Trumbull said, "We're helping people rediscover that heritage grains are digestible, nutrient-dense, and better for the planet and body." They're part of the Colorado Grain Chain, an organization that also includes Moxie Bread Company, Dry Storage, both bakeries and micro mills, Pueblo Seed and Company, and Blue Grouse Bread. Local darlings, Dry Land Distillers, created the nation's first 100% straight rye whiskey using fully regenerative organic certified Colorado rye from Jones Farms Organics. They're championing regenerative and water-efficient rye in Colorado's ecosystems. And hey, it's fun to support ROC with a rocks glass. Speaking of rye, I know Pastificio is working with the Rye Resurgence Project, incorporating Jones Farms Organics Ryman rye into their Campanile.
If I may add a little bit to Julie's ancient and heirloom grains, I think we just want to do a little bit here in terms of the definition, what it is and why it is important. So ancient and heirloom grains are basically varieties that existed prior to the Green Revolution when especially wheat, but all the other grains got to be overly hybridized. The result of this is modern wheat, which is basically what is in the grocery stores. And in the past decades, we have been seeing a lot of issues with gluten. And at least in our group of people, I'm part of a Colorado grain chain. We are one of the founding members. It is attributed to the varieties of the wheats that are used. If you go back to those seeds of ancient and heirloom, and by the way, heirloom and heritage are used interchangeably. We decided to call it heirloom, but those seeds, the DNA of them is much simpler, which means that people can digest them more naturally. Plus, they go along with organic agriculture. They do not do well with chemical inputs. The technicality is that the heads get too big and then the stalk breaks and then the harvest is really bad. So if you go to the selection of those varieties, the fact that you're most likely going to work with a small organic farmer, and then you support not only better food, but better practices, and also the biodiversity. Many of those grains are part of the Slow Food International Arc of Taste, which is basically a living library of seeds and grains that are about actually every single, living seed or flower or plant that is about to just go extinct. So by doing all those, you're basically supporting all, better food system, and also the taste. They tend to taste much better. They are different, like an heirloom tomato is different from a conventional tomato. So it's very, very similar to this. So Colorado, we have been really lucky to have a group of people that is really dedicated to this change. Colorado Grain Chain is a representation of this, a collaboration of farmers and millers and University of Colorado. So it's a group trying to educate the consumer and also create a market for those grains that are coming from the farmer to the consumer. So I guess I said enough. There's the right project, but we can talk about later or in the following webinar.
Because you've got an upcoming full webinar on this topic?
The next one, I believe it's going to be about sourcing. Susan.
Yes,
October.
the next webinar will be about sourcing and also marketing strategies for small businesses. I can put that link in the chat.
So you've got lots to look forward to, but for the moment, I'm going to wrap up our trends from Newtopia Now, including the spotlight on vegetables. Veggies are an emerging focus for sauces and snacks. On the show floor, we saw several great vegetable soup brands, both freeze-dried like Long Weekends here, and ready to eat in pouches like I Eat My Greens, which is available at Sprouts. We saw nostalgic veggie tots from Tots on the Street, a carrot-based pasta sauce, Karina, as an alternative to traditional tomato sauce, and even what's advertised as a liquid salad in a pouch from Liquid Plus. I think many of these new veggie-based pouch products are going to appeal to athletes and anyone who's tired of those sweet energy bars and would prefer a more savory option on the go. Now, final slide, please. My prediction for the future is that the next big trend will be vital fiber. Aid digestion, ease bloating, and tap into better gut health. Good Dirt sampled prebiotic mushroom sodas containing 10 grams of fiber. Brightside Organics Natura Fiber is a blend of organic whole food ingredients for digestive health and appetite control. Just add a spoonful to your morning smoothie. And New Water is a fiber-infused prebiotic water in cans. Will my predictions hold true? We'll be checking out the show floor at New Hope Network's Expo West in Anaheim, California in March to see. All right, Claudia, back to you.
All right, so we are going to the trade show itself. I have participated, and with the support of the CDA and Susan, in the last two Newtopia Now. So I have also attended other trade shows, but you know what I'm going to say here is really from a small brand standpoint. I'm normally either by myself or with Ted, the co-founder, in operating those booths. So what I learned from the past couple of years is it's basically an investment of time and money, and we need to be efficient on what we are doing at those trade shows. It's fun, it's exciting, but you really need to go with clear goals. So why are you there? Are you seeking retailers? Are you looking for distribution? Are you interested in investment? There are many different aspects. You need to figure out why you are going there. On my side of things, we normally go seeking retailers. So if you go with the same intent, you need to understand that you're going to see people from all over the country, and you need to have your distribution figured out. You know, whether you're going to send via, you know, UPS, or if you're going to work with more regional distributor, or how you're going to do. Because once you start talking and they are interested in your product, you need to know what goes in the middle to get that product to the retailer. So I would say focus and discipline. Who do you want to spend your time and resources with? When you go to those trade shows, everyone wear a badge, and in those badges there's a color. So each category is a different color. So you can just glance. If it's blue, it's a retailer. I'm going to talk to these people. There are a lot of people coming to try to provide youth services. And at least on my side of things, I try to get the information, be very polite, but make them understand that I'm here to generate business to my company. And whatever you're providing, I'll take your information, connect with me, and we'll talk later. I want to be really efficient. So always very professional, very polite, but direct. They understand, you know, oftentimes they come to you with, I know you're here for that. It's like, yeah, exactly. Give me your card, we'll talk later. The other part is preparation. You need to be concise. You need to understand your product, why it's unique, and have a couple of your selling points. If you're mission driven like us, you need to understand your whys. You know, it's better for you because the issues it addresses, the problems your product are solving. Very concise. Try to read the person you are talking to, and then you can go more or less depending on the reaction. Try to get a business card, or at least, you know, scan their badges. There are QR codes for everything right now. So I would say you need to look professional, but your way. You know, don't feel the pressure of wearing a branded t-shirt if it's not something that you are representing. You are your brand. So make sure that you dress in a way that is going to communicate that. In terms of community, and for me, it has been an amazing experience to be at Newtopia Now under the CDA umbrella, because all the companies around me are people that I know really well, are, friends that also have brands, or the farmer that I source part of my grains from. And that creates a community that you can collaborate in different ways. One is you're side by side, right? And if you understand what they are seeking, chances are that someone that comes to you, that you're talking, a retailer, it's also going to be a good match to the brand next to you. So you talk to this person, you get the information, and you say, by the way, Lisa next door, she has an amazing granola, and she's also a good fit for your whatever it is. So there is a lot of collaboration, not only during the trade show, but I would say sharing resources, even if it's a hotel room or all those extra costs of loading and unloading, you can split those things because you have much less than the bigger brands. So I do feel like you need to be at your best when you attend those shows. And in my way of seeing is like basics. You need to eat well, you need to be hydrated, you need to sleep well, because it's pretty easy to get into the mode of, oh, setting up and drinking coffee and just going. You need to be ready. You need to be representing your brand the best you can. So all those things plus clear communication, open mind, your posture, the way you present yourself, bring your food because it is tricky, and you can get into getting samples from everyone and then just having a lot of sugar and caffeine, and then by the time it's half day your mind is just, you can barely talk. Take breaks. The breaks are not to walk the floor, the breaks are going to go outside and just sunlight, air, fresh air, a little bit of peace. It's always exciting to see what is next, and the trade floor, maybe you leave it for the end of the day. Most of the time the flow comes in the morning and midday. By the afternoon it kind of gets quieter, so maybe that will be a time for you to just walk around and see what's interesting. Let me see. Yeah, I'm often by myself in those trade shows. We have little budget for marketing. I don't have a lot of people. If I bring someone, I would say train this person. Make sure she knows or he knows what you're seeking. If someone approaches her or him, and they screen and yes, this is important, just pass to you, because as a brand owner, you know how to communicate and you are the best person to talk to the most important people, right? So I focus on developing relationships and bringing more business. Even though there is a lot of really interesting content and panels, I would say I leave those things for later, because if I'm there, it's really to try to get the best for my company. So I think the trade shows I should talk later. So at the moment, that's it.
I'm going to follow up to note that a lot of those excellent seminars and panels are available virtually for on-demand access after the show ends. So if you're too busy making connections that week, which is an excellent use of your time, next week, when you're following up, resting up after the show, you can catch what you missed.
Thanks so much, Claudia. That was awesome. Some of what I was going to cover is going to repeat a little bit of what you just said, but you're the one who has that on the ground, fresh on the ground experience. So really appreciate those tips that you just gave. So I'll try not to repeat too much, folks, but essentially I just wanted to give an overview of some tips, some things that can help you when you attend your next trade show. And I also have a guide to how to succeed at trade shows that I'd be more than happy to give you guys. Just email me afterwards. I think my email address is on that last slide. So, but here's some of what's covered in that guide. So the first thing, the trade show success, first thing is, with everything you're doing for these shows, you want to be organized and you want to be efficient, because there's going to be a lot of people there. You want to build relationships quickly and efficiently. And so the planning and the speed is really top of mind for what you want to accomplish. And the most important thing I would say is to create your key messages before you go, if you haven't already got those down. And that's something that you will naturally create as you go through the show, because you'll find yourself saying the same thing over and over. And so you'll start to realize what it is that you need to say. But if you have that done beforehand, then you can hit the ground running when you get there. So basically, what we do when we're creating PR key messages is we say, hey, let's pretend that the New York Times calls you and says, hey, I've heard about you, but I only have 5 minutes. So what's really cool about you guys? That's what you want to write down. What's really cool about you guys? What makes you different? What makes you special? What makes you unique? What makes you different or better than your competitors? That's what you want to write down and really condense and get into a format that's easy and powerful. So avoid jargon, lead with your most compelling fact or stat or differentiator. Use language that's relatable and easy to remember. And then end with a clear step. So what do you want to achieve out of meeting that person? Something like, I'd love to follow up after the show. Can I get your card? Yeah. All right, next slide, please. Identify key people ahead of time. When I was younger, I would go to these shows and I would sort of wander around and I would just meet whoever I met. And then later I would hear that such and such a company was there and that I had missed the opportunity to go to their booth and meet them. So something I really learned is create a list of folks that you really want to meet when you're at this show. You're spending good money and good energy and time to be there. Make sure that you know what your goals are. And the big goal is, who do you want to meet while you're there? If they have booths, map out where their booths are. If they have a webinar, if they're doing a seminar, go and see their seminar, meet up with them afterwards. And you can always use the events networking app. So for example, with Newtopia Now, they use Beacon Discovery, so you can set up meetings in advance. It's an excellent way to be efficient with your time. And then just a quick side note is, I think Claudia said this, you do kind of need to be on for everyone. You don't know who you're going to meet. So just try to stay open, even if it isn't someone in this sounds obvious, but even if it isn't someone in your top list, and in fact, you have no idea how this could end up being a good meeting, being open and approachable to everyone that you do meet is always a good idea, because you never know what could develop. Next slide. Here's a really good tip. I went to a seminar on trade show success at New Hope recently, and one of the speakers there had a really great tip to create different business cards with special email addresses, or use inbox filters. So if you're speaking to an investor, you give them the special email address, and then you're checking those emails first and making sure it doesn't get lost in your onslaught of emails that always comes while you're out of the office for that trade show. And then putting together a one-page reason to believe document. So if you are going to be meeting with investors, a one-page, hey, this is who we are and this is why we would be a great investment for you. And maybe laminating it is a really smart idea too. Next slide. And then back to the key messages. What problem does your product solve? So this one's absolutely key, right? Because the person you're speaking with is thinking, what's in it for me? And the what's in it for me is, they're trying to solve a problem, especially if it's a retailer, right? They're trying to fulfill a need. So what problem or need does your product solve or fill? Focusing on a clear customer pain point and your unique solution in your key messages makes that rise to the top. what makes you stand out? So like I said a minute ago, calling out your differentiators that make people take notice. So your innovative, your sustainability, your origin story, your unique positioning. And keeping in mind, why should your targets, the media and retailers or investors, why should they care, right? What's in it for me? Offering 1 or 2 strong proof points, a key metric, customer traction, market growth data is key. And then, of course, what's your bigger impact? Sharing a single line on your mission, values, or social environmental impact is always a smart thing too. Next slide. Here's a fun little top 5 things to pack for the show. This is me with business cards in hand. Comfy shoes. If you've spoken to anyone who's been to Expo West, you've heard them say this as a tip. Take at least 2 pairs of shoes per day so you can switch out midway through the day, as you are walking for miles and standing on your feet for hours, and being able to change your shoes is a welcome thing. Number 2, portable smartphone charger, goes without saying, and yet how many times have we forgotten that? Some kind of a small crossbody bag or tote, not a backpack. Julie had a good point about that when we talked about this the other day, but yeah, something smaller that's more manageable. A refillable water bottle, like Claudia said, you're going to be thirsty and it's a pain sometimes to get to the other side of the expo to fill your water bottle up. So actually taking an extra large bottle of water that you can refill your water bottle from is you get extra points for that. And then, like I said, business cards, especially if you have special business cards where the recipient is divided into categories. Next slide. And just like Claudia said, take care of yourself. This is really important, and this is going to really help you succeed because you got to be in your top form, right? And it's exhausting. So again, eat a big breakfast, and that can help you avoid maybe some of that sugary snacking that you might do when you're walking around booths. Take real breaks. Make sure that you take a lunch break with real food, not just tastes and samples, and recharge so that you can stay focused and energized. If you're traveling with a team, consider renting a house together is a great way to build team. But on the other hand, you want to keep in mind how much of your own energy you're spending with other people. So you got to like plan your socializing time. Does it make sense for you to be hanging out with your team outside of the expo? Maybe it does financially, but you want to make sure that you have some downtime where you're not always on and with other folks. Next slide. Here's 3 must-have apps or tools for the show. So obviously the app for the event, like Beacon Discovery for Newtopia Now, that allows you to find people and schedule meetings and find where the booths are at the floor. LinkedIn, of course, sending connections before and afterwards of people you've met or want to meet. And then maybe using a notes app like Notion or Evernote to capture quick context after each conversation. So what I do at Expo West is I'll meet with someone and then I'll step to the side and say, just met with Julie of blah, blah, blah. And I promised to send her yada, yada. She's very interested in blah, blah, blah. And then later I have that long list of notes that I've made for myself, but otherwise you just never remember because you've spoken to so many people that day. Next slide. Approaching investors and retailers with intention. So this is a big one, right? You're there, you want to maybe build some financial contacts. You want to meet people for sure. So be prepared so you can maximize your time and their time too. So first of all, do your research in advance. Again, know who's attending, know which companies align with your brand. Get that top 10 or 15 list of folks that you really want to connect with when you're at the show. Schedule meetings in advance if you can. So reach out early to set those meetings during the slower periods, maybe before or after the show, even if it's an early morning meeting. Again, with what's in it for me, ask great questions. What are they looking to hear? So instead of reciting your pitch, focus on learning about their needs and goals so that you can respond to what they might be looking for. build rapport first, and then share the highlights of your brand. And then, of course, be ready to adapt. Investors and retailers might want different information than each other. Be nimble and tailor your conversation to who you're speaking with. Next slide. Here's a fun daily checklist. So 3 things to do each day. In the morning, we mentioned this before, have a substantial breakfast, review your top contacts and meetings so that you can stay focused. Middle of the day, take a real break, have a lunch break, recharge. Like Claudia said, don't walk the floor at this point. Go outside, get outside and like relax, connect with nature, get out of the harsh showroom lights, and maybe, you know, recover your social muscle. And then end of day, organize your contacts, jot down extra key takeaways while they're fresh in your mind. Next slide. And then afterwards is really important. Following up, reflecting on what you learned, and taking action. So follow up fast, but not too fast. That's a tricky one, right? You want to make sure that you're reaching out to show that you're interested. You want them to be remembering you, so you don't want to wait too long. But also, you know that when they get back to their office, they're going to have a deluge of new emails as well. So that tricky point of do you wait a week? Do you wait 2 weeks? I think somewhere in that 1 to 2 weeks is probably best. So sort and prioritize your contacts and update your materials. And then, of course, share your experience publicly on social media. And then finally, updating your materials. If questions came up repeatedly, tweak your FAQ and your website. So this is a great opportunity to find out. It's basically like it's speed. It's an awesome opportunity to find out what people are interested in, how they perceive of you, what questions they have about your company, etc. So using what you gain from this show to then adjust your marketing materials is really smart. And then, as I mentioned earlier, call me or email me if you'd like to chat about how we can help you at your next trade show, or if you'd like our guide to trade show success. Next slide. Claudia?
All right, that's amazing notes, Kuvy. I'd like to add a little more. You know, as a small brand, we did start at the Boulder Farmers Market, and we worked there for 5 years. And that was really helpful with us to understand our consumers, understand all those questions, and really tailor our pitch to talking to people. So if you're doing farmers markets, or if not, try to really talk to your customer, because that is really helpful. And the other thing with trade shows that I found really positive were the events at night. Naturally, community normally have something, there's always something happening, and it's a much more casual place for you to even meet really important people. So I have been mindful, because I also need to rest, but at the same time, attending some of those, and they have been really positive. All right, so about the trade shows that I have participated, and I'm talking about, again, right, my journey as a smaller brand. I did start with the Good Food Foundation. They put together 3 mercantiles every year. They are kind of transitioning, but it's normally now, I think it's San Diego, Portland, and New York. And they are trying to make it in the same weekend or pretty close to the Fancy Food Show. So the Good Food Foundation, it is really bringing the more artisanal, the more craft, the in heritage kind of product. It is really in that artisanal world, and the people attending those trade shows are normally independent retailers, smaller, maybe they have 1 or 2 stores. They come from all over the country. Um, I would say the bigger are maybe with 2 or 3 stores. You're going to find like the Buy Right from San Francisco. You're going to find the Eli Zaber and the Murray's Cheese in New York City. So it's that kind of retailer that attends. It is an amazing show. It's very manageable. It's just one afternoon. It doesn't cost that much. So we've done a couple of those in the beginning. They have been really good for us. After that, I think the next one that I would suggest is the Newtopia Now. I think it is the next step, which involves bigger retailers, but it's not as overwhelming as a big expo. So it's kind of a training for the next step. You are going to find retailers from many different places, Whole Foods and some of the Kroger, flags, I guess that's how they call. Fancy food, I just went as a visitor, but it's more or less in that category, is really big too. Not as big as the Expo West, but the Expo West has a smaller version that starts the day before the big show. I think it's called the Fresh Ideas Organic Marketplace. Thing is, you need to be organic. We are USDA organic certified. And for us was a really amazing show because everyone is there for the next day. So you are going to pretty much meet everyone. Was insanely busy. It's not as expensive for you to participate, and it's more manageable because it's just a couple hours. Is there any other? Of course, there is naturally Colorado, but maybe Kuvy talks about that.
Well, this Friday, I mean, you're in it, right, Claudia?
Yes, I'm pitching.
Yes, Claudia. Yeah, I mean, that's a great one to attend. I mean, just to see what that's like and also to cheer Claudia on, of course. And then, of course, the Naturally Colorado Fall Fling is mid-October. That's also in Denver. It's a great way to network and meet other people. Naturally Colorado is such an excellent organization to belong to as a natural products or good food brand.
Actually, I have one more thing. Sorry, did I
Yeah.
interrupt?
No.
Yeah, okay. So there is one more. Slow Food International, they do have a big, huge show that happens in Italy every 2 years. It's called Terra Madre, Salone del Gusto. And they are reviving one in America. And it's going to be pretty much from Canada to South America. It's going to happen in Sacramento later in September. And the idea is try to do the same thing that they do in Europe, in the US or the Americas. I've been to the one in Italy, and it is an incredible show for artisanal, small, very craft, real food and farmers, quite similar to the good food, but in a much bigger scale. So I don't know how the Terra Madre Americas is going to be because this is the first one that I'm going to in a couple of weeks. So if you want to follow up, I can tell you maybe in the next webinar, but it's another amazing resource.
That's September 26th through 28 in Sacramento. And I think they have a 10-year contract to do that in Sacramento. Visit Sacramento has sponsored this to make this a 10-year event. This is their second time, right? So I guess, is there 5? Because it's every other year. So it must be 5 of them over a 10-year period. And this is the second one in the 5 event series. So anyway, we can't wait to hear how that was, Claudia. So make sure to talk about that in a future webinar.
All right, next slide, please. I want to thank everyone who attended and our amazing experts. If anyone has any questions, now's the time to weigh in. All of our emails are here. Please feel free to reach out directly with afterwards. We'd love to hear from you. We're having 3 webinars in October and November, touching on this climate smart regenerative area with Colorado Proud. And the next webinar is October 20th, and it's going to focus on regenerative climate smart marketing strategies for small businesses. And we'll also talk a little bit about sourcing from Colorado for people who are wanting to do that. I just, if we don't have any questions, I just want to say thanks for your time and have a wonderful day.
This has been great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.